welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name's Hussein. I'm dressed in orange today. Yes, cold weather. Dude, I don't know what it is, man. It's just like this cold weather just keeps getting to me. And God bless you guys. My wife got me a new teacup. Yoo-hoo. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you look real close, you can see there's a little bunny. So good. Yummy. All right. Well, you know what? I kind of got the idea today to do something about the Apostasy Wars. I've never really talked about it. I mean, I've talked about it in passing and stuff like that. Hello, Sergio. Hello, daughter. Hello, Jedediah. Hello, God bless you guys. I've talked about it in passing. I've talked about the in Arabic it's called Harub Rida. Harb Rida. Rida. Now that's still the same day that the same. It's the same. Yes, my wife got me that coffee cup from. uh, it's the same word they use today for apostasy is rida. Haqq rida. That if you apostatize, you're supposed to be killed. Like in Egypt, they have khatt rida. It's kind of like the red line. If you cross it, you will be killed. So, so anyway, I just want to look a little bit because it was an actual event that took place. It was called the Apostasy Wars, and it kind of shows you, what happened is that Muhammad had pretty much conquered a lot of the Arabian Peninsula by force, and excuse me, he conquered a lot, big chunks of Arabia. Excuse me, yeah, boy, yeah. By force, using the sword and his army, his thugs, and I could even show you a list of his invasions. There's like 38 of them. This guy was just, man, he was a warlord, just a massive warlord, and so anyway, but when he died, a lot of people who had accepted Islam, they didn't really accept Islam because they believed in it or because they thought very highly of Muhammad. They were just scared. They had no choice, and so they that's the reason they followed. And when Muhammad died, tons of them just said, "We are out. We are out of here." They want nothing to do with Islam. And so the next leader, Abu Bakr, he went around and had to fight these wars to get everybody to come back to Islam, to force them to come back to Islam and to start paying their jizya and paying their zakat. The non-Muslims have to pay jizya and the Muslims have to pay zakat. So this is a big business, and they needed their money, and so there's what's called the Apostasy Wars. So anyway, just want to look a little bit into what these Apostasy Wars. Just before I do, I just want to say one thing. There was an incident that happened in Australia. I thought it was a terrorist attack. I don't know exactly, but it looked like the kid who did it. He was a 17-year-old kid. He looked like a little He looked like a apple pie face young kid, out of junior high school, and he went on a plane. He snuck on a plane with with a gun, the semi-automatic weapon, and he was planning to shoot up the plane. Now, this was in Australia. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Let me just see. I mean, they had a picture of the kid. Um, let me see. Australia plane incident. See if this. Um, Here it is. Al Jazeera. Let's see. Okay, here's. All right. This is weird. I thought I don't know exactly. Let's just look what happened. It was this morning. It says a boy with a loaded shotgun boarded a plane in Australia but was tackled by a former boxer. So it was the passengers of the plane. How does he sneak onto a plane? He got onto the plane in Australia with a loaded shotgun. A 17-year-old boy, that's not exactly a boy, with a loaded shotgun boarded a plane at an Australian airport before being restrained by a pilot and two passengers, police said Friday. The boy was disarmed and detained before police arrived on the scene Thursday at the Avalon Airport in Victoria State. Barry Clark, a passenger who tackled the suspect, said the boy had posed as a maintenance worker and became agitated when questioned by a flight attendant at the plane's entrance. I looked up, and then within a second, I saw the barrel of a shotgun, and I thought to myself, that ain't a tool that should be on a plane, Clark told Network 10 TV. When I saw the complete gun, I said, we are in trouble here. Then I saw it move towards her chest, and so I thought, well, I've got to do something. This is all happening in a matter of seconds. Clark, a former professional boxer. Wow. Praise God, man. Praise God that he had a professional boxer there and a sheep shearer said he snuck up behind the boy and pushed the gun and the flight attendant away in different directions so that she would not be hit if the gun discharged. I then proceeded to do what I had to do and just put him in a bit of a lock. Got his hand, twisted it, and put it up in his back, threw him to the floor, and put my knee on his back and held him in that position where he couldn't get up. Victoria Police Superintendent told reporters the boy from Ballarat in regional Victoria had climbed through a hole in the airport security fence before making his way to the plane stairs. Dang. Wow. This would have been very terrifying incident for the passengers of the plane. Dang. It was a Sydney-bound Jetstar Airways flight carrying 150 people. Dang. Okay, the boy was charged with multiple offenses, including unlawfully taking control of an aircraft, orchestrating a bomb hoax, and possessing a firearm. Shoot. Now, it doesn't seem to have any, I don't think, counterterrorism police not involved in the investigation. So they're not saying this is Ramadan related or anything like that. So, shoot, that is scary, man. It was a domestic flight. Yeah. Wow. Well, the guy crawled in through a hole in the security fence around the airport. So onto the runways. Dude, dang. Australia is really getting, sheesh. All right. Well, what I want to talk about today is this topic right here about it's called the Apostasy Wars. And so let's just see a little bit, just to learn a little bit about it, because, we've talked about it so many times, and it's still relevant because Islam still teaches that if somebody leaves Islam, you're supposed to kill them, because that's what Muhammad taught. Muhammad said, "Men baddal dinu fa'uqtilu," whoever changes religion, kill him. Mm. What's funny? What's funny is that this is such a famous verse, and this is such a famous hadith. In the Middle East, everybody knows it, but no Muslim in America has ever heard of it. No Muslim in America has ever heard of this hadith. But the lemon honey green tea is good. Thanks. But no, it's so funny. I tell Muslims about it. I say, "Oh, I've never heard of that," and it's like everybody knows this hadith. Okay, so so this is kind of Abu Bakr. He was the first caliph. He's the one that mainly fought this. And so let's just read a little bit about these apostasy wars. Okay, let me see. Okay, 9, 3, 4, 5, 2. Okay, actually, they are in order. Okay, Rida means apostasy. What happened when Muhammad died? Firstly, a new leader had to be appointed to rule the Islamic community. But a second consequence of Muhammad's death was that many Arabian tribes renounced Islam, deciding to go back to their old customs and religion. Abu Bakr, the new Islamic leader, waged a series of campaigns against these rebel tribes. These became known as the Rida Wars, or the Wars of Apostasy. Okay. All right. Many Arab tribes had converted to Islam during Muhammad's lifetime. Because of the power and influence wielded by Muhammad during his last few years at Medina. Okay, so he was very powerful his last few years. However, once Muhammad died, these tribes were keen to return to their old customs and religious practices. Now, this is talking about the pagans who had converted to Islam. They also resented the zakat tax, an alms tax that all Muslims of high social standing had to pay. Therefore, several tribes renounced their allegiance to the Muslim community after Muhammad's death. Okay, so a bunch of them just up and said, "Dude, we are out of here." They didn't want nothing to do with Islam. They didn't want anything originally to do with Islam, but Muhammad forced them to accept Islam. They were converted by force at the edge of the sword. Muhammad said, "I was commanded to fight the people until they accept Islam." Muhammad said, "I was made victorious with terror." Yes, it was forced by terror and fear. And he says, "I was made victorious with terror, and that paradise is under the shadow of a sword." This is Muhammad. He was a warlord. And just like Jordan Peterson, when he was talking, this made a lot of Muslims mad, but he says the difference between Jesus and Muhammad. Well, number one thing is Muhammad was a warlord. He was absolutely a warlord. They even called him the Dahuk al-Qattal, the laughing killer or fighter. Okay. So, okay. And see the next one. Okay, this one's a little bit long. Okay. The causes of the apostasy wars. Okay. The long-term causes of the Ridda Wars lay in the ancient history of the tribal structure in the Arabian Peninsula. For centuries before Islam, the basic unit of society had been the tribes. The customs and religious practices of these tribes were handed down through the generations. With Muhammad's rise to power, the basic unit of society shifted from the tribes to whether or not someone was a Muslim. With this shift in identity came new religious practices, new customs laid down by Muhammad, a new social structure, since people could now intermarry with anyone in the Ummah, regardless of which tribe they were from. Okay, so people were, just before, just they they lived, like according to tribal customs, tribal relations. They, like Muhammad's tribe was the Qurayshi tribe, and there was the other tribes as well, around them, and so they lived according to the rules of each tribe, but with Muhammad, when he came to power, uh, he the whole identity shifted from being a member of a tribe to being a member of a cult or religion, in this case Islam, whether you're Muslim or not. And so that's kind of the identity shift that took place in Arabia. And that really was, and I've done stuff about this before, but that really was the purpose of Khadija, Muhammad's wife. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to unite Arabia, because it was all this disparate um, uh, tribes. Everybody was, their own, culture, own ways and worship and idols and everything like that. She wanted to unite the Arabian Peninsula, and she was so powerful, so rich. And so she talked to the Jews, how do you do this? And the Jews said, well, you could do it the way David did it in the Bible. And the way David did it is, first of all, he was a prophet. Then he became a king. And so the goal was to have Muhammad be a king. But in order for him to become a king, you got to start with him being a prophet. So let's do the prophet thing first and then become a king. Okay, so that was Khadija's goal. Okay, and it's all about the power. Yes. Let's see what Andrew Martin says. I think it was more personal and local then in all the Arabian Peninsula. It was just Mecca, Petra. Yeah, so hey, shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, I found out today from our president, Donald Trump, that shalom means hello and goodbye. You get to choose which one. If you saw what he said to Hamas. Yo, boy, yay. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's read the last paragraph here. Many tribes converted to Islam not because they believed in Muhammad's message, but because they saw there was no point in resisting Muhammad as the dominant military and political power in the region. Moreover, Muhammad controlled all the trade routes into the Arabian Peninsula. Therefore, historian Fred Donner argues that many tribes converted simply because they needed to if they wanted to be able to eat and survive. So it was like a matter of survival. It wasn't because they believed in what he was saying or thought that he was this amazing thing. He was a caravan robber, and they have, I could show you all the list of all the, his accomplishments and his, the 38 ghazawat, this includes a lot of caravans that were robbed. He would rob caravans as they were traveling across Arabia to Mecca. And so this verse, Pharaoh said, "If you take a god other than me, I will surely place you among those imprisoned." So yeah, yep. So yeah, so that's why. But as soon as Muhammad died, they said, "Dude, we are out of here." Okay. Now this is this historian, Fred Donner. He said, once Muhammad had firm control over all agricultural areas in northwestern Arabia, the options of the tribes were distinctly limited. If they wished to eat, they had to come to terms with this new ubiquitous political force. So, if you want to eat, you gotta. It sounds very much like the Antichrist, doesn't it? You cannot buy or sell without taking the mark of the beast. And that's kind of what Muhammad did. He took control of the economic, agricultural, and he got rid of the Jews, kicked the Jews out, kicked the Christians out. And so, yeah, so that's why when he died, all these people said, out of here, man. But his follower, Abu Bakr, was just as bad and worst. Um, well, when he died, they said, let's wait and see, let's wait 3 days and see if he comes back to life, like Jesus did. They left him in Aisha's house, and they said, let's wait and see if he comes back to life. But then, I believe it was Khalid bin Walid or Umar bin Khattab, they said, listen, let me see if I can find this hadith. Uh, okay. Okay. This is if when Muhammad died, they said that, they were. Okay. Here's a little. This isn't exactly what I was wanting to show you, but this works right here. It said when Muhammad died, they disagreed over where to bury him. Abu Bakr said, I heard him say something which I have not forgotten. He said, Allah does not take the life of a prophet except at the location in which he wants him to be buried. So they buried him at the spot of his bed. Okay. And to be honest, you know what? It smelled so bad. It smelled so bad that uh, they just said, dude, it's just easier just dig a hole right here where he is. He's lying down. Uh, um, let's see. He had heard the messenger died on Monday and was buried on Tuesday, and people prayed individual with no one leading them. Some people said he would be buried near a mumbar. Others said he would be buried in El Baqi. Abu Bakr Siddiq said, I heard him say he wants to be buried where he. So a grave was dug for him there. When he was about to be washed, they wished to take off his shirt, but they heard a voice saying, don't take off his shirt. So they did not take off his shirt, and he was washed with it on. I heard it. The smell was so bad. They just said, let's just dig a hole right here where he is. And they buried the whole house even. Uh, but They were waiting to see, is he going to come back to life? But when the smell came out, they realized no. Uh, and so they just buried him. So anyway, that was the when Muhammad died. And when he died, Abu Bakr, they determined that he would be the leader. He was the father of Muhammad's 6-year-old wife, child bride Aisha, and his favorite wife. Um, uh, and so Abu Bakr became the next, and he was the one that did the Apostasy Wars. It was during his time that they did the Apostasy Wars to force Arabia back to Islam, back to paying the zakat. And so, yeah. Okay, let's look here. Okay, 92. Let's look at 93. Okay, yeah, we saw this one already. Okay, catalyst of the Ridda Wars. The catalyst that sparked the beginning of the Ridda Wars was that Muhammad died in June 632. This left a crisis of leadership in the Muslim community since Muhammad never stated who his successor should be. Even when Abu Bakr, who had been a close friend of Muhammad, was appointed the new caliph, several prominent Muslims, such as Muhammad's son-in-law Ali, continued to oppose his rule for a time. And we know that Ali went on to lead the Shiites. Okay, he created the Shiite movement. When tribes therefore took the opportunity of this sudden weakness in the Muslim community to declare their independence, they used this opportunity to declare their independence from Islamic rule and religion. They want nothing to do with Islam. The sweetness of Islam, as they say. So, okay. Caliph period of the Ridda Wars. Caliph Abu Bakr divided his army into 11 divisions, each of which were sent to a different region to subjugate a different rebel tribe. This strategy was very effective for 3 reasons. It meant that Abu Bakr's enemies could not attack Medina while his army was on the campaign against a different tribe. It isolated Abu Bakr's enemies, preventing them from forming alliances with one another. Number 3, it stopped Abu Bakr's enemies from striking back. Abu Bakr's chief commander was Khalid bin Walid. Boy, this guy was a piece of work. He was very loyal to the cause of Islam and had played a significant role in helping Muhammad achieve victory at the Battle of Uhud in 625. Khalid's forces were sent to subdue the most powerful of Caliph Abu Bakr's enemy tribes. Okay, so this is what happened. This is how come everybody was. It was a really good strategy, and it to control all of Arabia and to take it even beyond Arabia. As you know, I just want to say I have cousins, not first cousins, second cousins. No, second cousins, because their father was my father's first cousin, and they're named Khalid and Walid. So that's kind of something you find in Muslim families quite often, is Khalid and Walid. And so yeah, I had cousins Khalid and Walid. So but I just want to tell you, there was one of the very famous Ridda Wars. There's one that I bet all of you know one of the Ridda Wars. Does anybody want to guess the name of one of the very famous Ridda Wars? Ridda Wars, Ridda Wars. There's one battle. I know you guys know it. And it's one of the Ridda Wars, to bring the people back to Islam. Okay, it was the very famous Battle of Yamama. Battle of Yamama. Yamama. Hey, hey, mama. Um, it was called the Battle of Yamama, which is a very famous battle because this was also the battle where a bunch of the people who had memorized the Quran were being killed. Uh, oh, yeah, mama. the because what happened is Abu Bakr had this amazing strategy. He thought, you know what, if I put because Quran cannot be destroyed. So if I put all the people who Hafaz, those who memorize the Quran, if I put them on the front lines, then they will not be killed because you cannot destroy Quran. So he put them on the front lines and they got massacred, they got slaughtered. And so that's when Abu Bakr said, you know what, we better write down the Quran. So that's when they decided to compile the Quran and write it down. And that's when they told, who's the Jewish guy that wrote the Quran? Oh, shoot. There was a Jewish guy. What was the name of the Jewish guy that wrote the Quran? Do you remember? It just flew out of my head. I haven't talked about him in a few weeks, I think. But Zayd ibn Thabit. Thank you. Yeah, Zayd ibn Thabit. By the way, I have a cousin named Zayd too. But Zayd ibn Thabit, they told him, hey, come over here and write a Quran. Go and collect it for us. And when they told him to collect it, he said, hey, y'all, we can't do something that Muhammad didn't want to do. And then Umar bin Khattab said, no, Allah wants you to do this. And Zayd ibn Thabit, he was Jewish. So he wrote the Quran the first time. This is the first time he wrote the Quran at the Battle of Yamama. And he says this was harder than moving a mountain. It was harder than moving a mountain to go and find all the passages. They got them from passages of the Quran because there's some of it was written on bones, some of it was written on paper, some of it was written on leather, some of it was written on leaves, some of it rocks. They were written on rocks. He had to go compile everything and put it into one book. And so that was the first time he wrote the Quran. And then you know what happened? It was so highly valued by the Muslims that Abu Bakr gave it to the next caliph, Umar bin Khattab. Umar bin Khattab then gave it to his daughter Hafsa, who put it under her bed for 20 years, and nobody even asked about it. Nobody even asked about it until the third caliph, Uthman, said he wanted to write a Quran. And so he called Zayd ibn Thabit again and said, okay, time to write another Quran, one that is going to be the standard edition. And and so he compiled, he got Zayd, said, come on, let's write a Quran. And he used Hafsa's Quran, but they made changes to it. And this became the standard Quran. And one thing they don't have is Muhammad's Quran. They have Zayd's Quran, they have Uthman's Quran, they have Mas'ud's Quran, they got all these different, but they don't have Muhammad's Quran. Nobody knows what was in that. So anyway, so that's kind of what happened there. And it was kind of, there was also someone else who was very famous, who was also like the main opponent of Muhammad at the Battle of Yamama. And that person was Musaylima, who came to be known as Musaylima al-Kadhab, or Musaylima the liar. And he was also saying that he was a prophet. He also said he was a prophet. And so there were a bunch of people who were saying they were prophets back then. And Muhammad just turned into the strongest one. So that's why he anyway, he kind of had a lot more demonic inspiration than the other guys did, and empowerment. So, so that's kind of about the Harub al-Rida, or the Wars of Apostasy. And the Wars of Apostasy are still ongoing, in a sense that Islam, if you leave Islam, you still get killed. And if you're in a Muslim country, and so what Muhammad said is still being applied today. And I know that no Muslim in America or in the West knows about this verse, but in the Middle East, everybody knows it. And says, whoever changes his religion, kill him. You know what? Maybe that's the way Muhammad's original Quran was, so much of it's from the Bible. So, anyway, guys, I just wanted to do a little thing talking about those wars of Harub al-Rida, the Apostasy Wars. There's a lot more that can be said about this. Tiger, who wrote the Quran? A Jibril Bimi CMO D Pinky. Might as well. So let me see if I could just show you the many battles of Muhammad, because I was looking at it and it was like, oh man, is this for reals? Um, list of expeditions. Okay. These are all his attack, the battles he had. He had Ali's caravan raid in 623. He had Batin Rabigh caravan raid, 623. Kharar caravan raid, May and June 623. Invasion of Wadan, August 623. Invasion of Buat, October 623. Invasion of Dul Ashir, December 623. Invasion of Safwan, 623. Nakhla raid, January 624. Battle of Badr, March 624. Assassination of Asma bint Marwan, January 624. You remember Asma bint Marwan? She was a poet who didn't like Muhammad. He had done something to her family, and she was speaking against him. And so he sent someone to kill her. And she had 5 babies around her. And then there was the assassination of Abu Afak, the invasion of Sawik, invasion of Benu Kainuka. Now that'd be one of the Jewish tribes. Okay, that's one of the Jewish tribes who supposedly broke a treaty with him. Al Qudr invasion of Thi Amr, assassination of Ka'ab ibn al-Ashraf, invasion of Bahrain, Najd caravan raid, lots of caravan raids, expedition of Abdullah bin Malik, Battle of Uhud, invasion of Hamr al-Asad, expedition of Qatan, expedition of Abdullah ibn Unais, expedition of al-Raji, the mission of Amr ibn Umayyah al-Dam'ari, expedition of Bir Ma'una, invasion of Banu Nadir. This is another Jewish tribe from some Jewish. It's one of the 3 Jewish tribes that was in Medina. Okay, expedition of Dhul Rika, invasion of Badr, invasion of Dumatul Jandal, Battle of the Trench. Okay, and you know, Battle of the Trench means right next to it, after it, is the invasion and genocide of the Banu Qurayza, expedition of Muhammad ibn Musaylama, expedition of Ibn Mahsan. You know, I'm just reading these to you just so that you get bored listening to all of these battles that Muhammad fought. I don't have time. It's going to take an hour to read them all. So, yeah, that's who Muhammad was. That's what he did. And so, all right, you guys. So, yeah, just wanted to let me just look at the news really quick, just because so much is happening so fast. Okay, see, area closed. Okay, there's flooding by the Dead Sea. U.S. will use AI to revoke visas of students perceived as Hamas supporters. So they want to deport students from American universities who are, taking over classes and taking over universities and buildings and stuff. So Israel prepares to fight against Houthis. Okay, so yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think some of this stuff, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what to think, but I think some of this stuff is going to be happening very, very quickly. And so, all right. Well, there's a little bit of information about the Apostasy Wars. And let's see. Quran contradiction, Quran song. Okay. Yeah, well, it was in today there was a Senate Judiciary Committee meeting where they were asking about people who were doing these riots at the schools, who cover their faces, and if they should be deported if they're here on a student visa. Yes, I saw some of that. It was a great. Yes. Yeah. He's a good looking guy. I don't know why he always says that. He says he has a face for radio. And so, so hi, Jesse and Bean. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for hanging out a little bit. And yes, there's no Psalms in the Quran, but the Quran says that Allah wrote the Psalms, including Psalm 22, which says, "They pierced my hands and my feet. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Yea, for his name's sake, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemy. Thou anointest my head with oil. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Hallelujah. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out. Have a blessed night, and hope to see you tomorrow, hopefully. God bless.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth. This happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.